Hey crafters, thanks for joining me. Today we're going to make a card featuring products from 2 different stamp companies because the day of crafting is just what the doctor ordered. In today's video I will be combining the Arts Sunflower Field Heroscape stamp set and the Newton's Nook Monarchs stamp set. Now the Sunflower Field is a layering stamp and includes instructions and recommended ink colors on the back of the package. And I'm going to start with a 5 by 7 inch piece of paper, and I'll stamp the first layer with Ultinude Limeade, which is a lovely light green. If you don't have any of the Ultinude inks, you can always use other dye inks, but I find that these particular inks are best for layering sets. Plus, they're quite small, so they're easy to store. Now these are best double stamped, so I would recommend that you have a stamp platform. Now after lining up the second layer, I'm going to stamp it with the lime, which is a slightly different, a darker shade of green. Now I'm going to move on to the third layer. Now this is where the stamp set becomes interesting. Today I have used oranges, sun-kissed, and orange cream to demonstrate typical sunflower colors. But you don't actually have to stamp these in traditional colors. In fact, you will see this shortly as I have created 2 card examples today. So it all depends on the effect that you're going for and the other colors in your card. You can customize the stamp set however you wish. And in case you haven't used a stamp set like this before, Hero Arts makes them so they're very easy to line up. Now to finish off the sunflowers, I'm going to stamp the last layer with Memento Rich Cocoa ink. This is a lovely dark brown and it looks perfect for sunflowers. You can also use this sort of ink if you're doing alcohol ink coloring. Now isn't this stamp set amazing? And look how great it looks in other colors too. I've listed them on the side there for you. Just beautiful. Now I'm going to stamp the main images from the Monarch stamp set in Memento Black, which as I mentioned is Copic or alcohol ink safe. I'm also going to stamp 2 of the sentiments for our card, Fluttering By and Wishing You a Beautiful Day. I would recommend double stamping these 2. Now, I thought it would be interesting to show how I color with Copics, as I find this method quite effective. For these images, I used 2 shades of each color, and I put the darkest color down first, and then the lighter color, and I repeated these until I had a good blend between the 2 colors. My tips for alcohol ink coloring is you need to add the ink in layers with a little bit of drying time in between. And of course, you need to use alcohol ink friendly paper, not the cheap stuff. I wanted to make the inside of the butterflies darker, so I didn't really worry about having a light source per se on this card. Now on these butterflies, I used traditional Monarchs colors, but you will soon see you don't have to do that. Just because the stamp set is called Monarchs doesn't mean you can't experiment with colors if you want to. These stamps are so much fun to color, and look how beautiful they become. In no time at all, you'll have some beautiful butterflies fluttering by wishing you a beautiful day. Now you can also buy the coordinating dies for these, but today I just used my scissors to cut them out. Now, to step these up a notch, I'm going to use Nuvo drops on the butterflies' bodies to add some dimension and interest to my card. Be careful with this stuff. I always squirt a little bit on some scrap paper to make sure there aren't any air bubbles trapped inside. If you happen to have a clogged nozzle, don't squeeze the bottle as hard as you can while wearing your favorite shirt. I'm speaking from experience. Now these butterflies are amazing. Here are the same stamps colored with an alternate color palette, just to show you how versatile they are. I've listed the colors there for you. Now I love that sparkle. It's from the Jelly Roll pen. Like I said, you can customize these butterflies to match the rest of your card and any color palette you desire. Now my favorite bit, the ink. Today I'm using a blending brush because I want to have a soft background that doesn't distract from the beautiful stamp sets. Starting off the paper, I'll blend my tumbled glass across the bottom third of the white space. Now I'm not pushing very hard here. I'm letting the brush do all the work. As I move up the card, I can increase the pressure. Now once I'm happy with that, I'll move on to my next blue, which is peacock feathers, and I'll blend this one with a tiny bit more pressure than I used on the first color. Already I can see that the sky is gradually getting darker. Now I'm going to blend these two colors together, and then I'll move on to my third blue, which is salty ocean. Because all three of these colors are blue, I don't need to worry about cleaning my brush in between the colors. Now after the colors are laid down where I want them, I can gradually increase the pressure on the brush as needed until I'm happy with the way that the sky looks and the way that it's blended. I want the top of the sky to be a lot darker than the bottom, and I don't want to see the lines between the colors. So I'm going to keep blending until I'm happy with it. Now I'm going to trim off the edges of my background so it ends up being 4 1/4 by 6.5. I'm using the Tim Holtz paper trimmer. My favorite card size is 5 by 7 inches, as I love the look of longer cards. To create a focal panel for my butterflies, I've cut and scored a piece of acetate so it's slightly longer than the card front, and it's 2 1/4 inches wide. Whenever you use acetate, be sure to use double-sided tape rather than glue, as glue can cause it to pucker and it won't sit flat. Personally, I think it looks best if this acetate is adhered slightly off-center. Now once I'm happy with the placement of the butterflies, I can adhere this whole backdrop to my card blank. And I'm going to use a 5 by 7 inch card blank. And I'm going to trim it down just a little bit, so it's about 4.5 inches by 7 inches long. You can adjust the length of this card design until you're happy with the style. Now here are both the finished cards, the traditional monarch and sunflower colors, and the one that's got lots of sparkle, pastel colors, and a little bit of gold. Thanks for joining me today and helping to support a new YouTuber. I would love to know in the comments below which color combination you prefer.